I'm Diana McCollum.
Hey, I'm Andrew Rivamy.
And this is Fan vs. Fan for The Flash.
How do we know this is safe?
Define safe. Your brainwave sends the necessary data to pinpoint whatever corner of the universe Barry is stuck in.
Joe?
Good to see you, Barry.
But I'm not Joe.
Get him out, damn it. You can get him out,
I don't
can't
know
you?
if I can.
Please let me go back right now. My whole world is in danger.
You're not going back.
All right, so let's recap on tonight's episode of The Flash. What we saw, we have Barry pulling a full-on Obi-Wan Kenobi and coming one with the Speed Force, leaving his clothing behind and everything. Joins with the Force, exits the Force, stops the Villain of the Week, Girder. We have Wally and Jesse falling unconscious. Jesse a little bit longer, and Jesse Quick might actually have finally become Quick, and now all the villains are mounting together a hell of a defense. So that's the recap, but let's get into it. Let's talk pros. All right, so pros for tonight's episode. Diana, what did you enjoy?
I enjoyed the entire Allen family.
Okay.
Everyone in the Allen family crushed this episode.
Yeah.
Grant Gustin made me cry. His mom made me cry.
Right.
And Henry made me cry.
Sure.
And crying's a pro.
What about Joe?
He was good too. He's
He's
Allen.
not the Allen family. All right,
not
you
the
know what?
Allen
You
family.
said the Allen family
the Allen
and not
family.
Barry's family.
Yeah.
When you say Barry's family,
Everyone's
I consider
Barry's family.
that's
Everyone is there. A family.
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 Yeah.
They mentioned.
Okay.
They mentioned before that
Okay.
everyone's family. But yeah, his actual biological family.
Right.
I thought crushed it. Yeah. Henry was just heartbreaking.
Uh-huh.
Grant Gustin. Oh my God.
Yeah, did a really good job this episode.
Just
Phenomenal.
crushing it. When he's at his mom's grave crying, like I believed it. I was heartbroken.
Well, like, he did a great job this episode, but also he would have to. Like, it's an episode where Barry doesn't have his powers and just gets to go imaginary room to imaginary room, having the most emotional possible scene.
His power is emoting in this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a large challenge that was laid out for him. He had to Grant Gustin had to rise to it as an actor to entirely carry this episode on the emotional being of his family, and he did it.
And like, yeah, when he recites the book and he knew all the words,
Yeah.
the emotional journey that Grant Gustin went on, and both of his parents, I thought, did fantastic emotional work. I was really drawn in by all of it, to the point where I was just like upset when we cut back to Girder stuff. I was like, I want to stay with all the Allens. I just want to deal with this. I didn't want the real world back. Just want to stay in the Speed Force forever.
Yeah, I 100% get that. I think that I'll agree with your point saying that that Grant Gustin rising to the challenge of this episode and performing phenomenally well is one of the pros and strengths of this episode. Specifically, I want to give it up to the actress playing Nora Allen. She did a phenomenal job for a character that... Because her death is really the catalyst of this entire show. It's the catalyst of who Barry is as a character. But she's not really a catalyst for my compulsion with the character. She's not really a catalyst for my interest.
Well, yeah, because we never met her.
Yeah,
We don't know
exactly.
her.
So she's kind of nothing. She's a jumping off point for who Barry is. But I care about Barry, not Barry's loss of her. So it's a really difficult role to resonate with the audience, because we care about Barry, not you. We care about everything that happened after you as the inciting incident. We don't care about the inciting incident, or we shouldn't on paper, but she made it work. She made that character work. It was fully like fleshed out and realized, and a very in-depth, detailed performance of a character that is really just a Speed Force delusion, or perhaps one with the universe, or whatever it might be.
She did great, but she was also like a really fine balance of I'm your mom and I'm the Speed Force, and I'm like, plot-wise, I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
Because you seem like you're actually his mom.
Yeah.
And every other character was like, no, I'm just the Speed Force. But this character was like, I'm your mom.
Yeah.
And the Speed Force. That was confusing.
All of it.
But
a layered character to perform, and a
she
very
did
difficult
great
thing to
job.
do.
Yeah. All of her, the scene with the book, the scene at the table,
Yeah,
all
you
of
have
the
to
Allens.
be an intangible concept, and you also have to be a character that no one has really learned to care about yet, and in fact, we've only learned to care about your son after your character left. Like, your death is the only thing keeping this show together, and yet somehow we need to be compelled to want you to stick around and an intent. Great performance. Great performance. Tear worthy. Really got everything out of it.
What was your pro?
That was
Same pro?
yeah. I'm talking
We're
you're talking about how Grant in that world is one of your pros. I'm saying Nora, specifically Nora. That's the anchor that I think brought this whole episode together for me.
Okay. No, I also thought Henry did a great job though. Not so much like Dreamscape Henry, because he was pretty just like flat like all the other Dreamscape ones, but like real life Henry, I was like, he's doing his doctrine, but he's worried about Barry.
Right.
When he wanted to go into the Speed Force, I was like, please let him, don't send Iris, and then he didn't get to go.
Right.
But yeah, I love all the Allens.
All the Allens are good. Yeah, it was a full-on Allen wonderful show. And again, you can't go wrong with Joe. I even love like Joe with the world's best dad mug. Like we've been talking about, like if you've been watching Fan v Fan, you know that we call Joe the world's best dad. It's Joe and Henry are two best dads. Two best dads. And the fact that he had the best dad mug, dropping it to test Wally, that was kind of like silly and fun.
I will say that was one of my favorite West family scenes. And I know I've already probed the Allen family, but the West family just had this lovely scene. Like they think they're talking about puberty for a second, and you're like, chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. And he drops the cup, and Iris is like, I gave you that cup. And I'm like, that might be the first time Iris made me laugh.
Yeah, and you know what? I wanted more of that from this episode.
Definitely. It's annoying to just get like a taste of great family dynamic and then be like, and back to Girder.
And that's what I would have liked. Like I know that there's stakes and tension going on this episode, but I would have liked a little bit more playfulness from the West family. Like that goof around. I made you coffee. Drop the cup. You didn't catch it. Ah, what a goof. Puberty though.
You made me.
That was like a fun round robin family moment. And I'm like, let's have more of that. But instead, Girder's on the way, something or other, which I think leads pretty smoothly into let's talk about the cons. All right, so cons of tonight's episode. Diana, what didn't you like?
Well, I think we're going to shockingly say Zombie Girder.
I mean, yeah, I was leading into Zombie Girder.
I think we can all take a quick vote on Zombie Girder.
Hands up, Zombie Girder.
Zombie Girder.
Zombie Girder. I assume you're all holding up your hands at home.
We're going to adjourn this meeting of the cons section. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
First of all, you never returned that man's body to his family? Like, I know you were running a Gitmo prison, but you just kept that?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't like dump it on the side of the road and be like, this never happened.
Especially because I remember that episode really clearly. He died as a hero.
Yeah.
They let him out so that he could fight the electricity guy.
That's right. He finally kind of came around on it.
He was like protecting them, and he died, and then they just shoved his body in the morgue?
Now, here's what I think is also extra disturbing. They're going around that morgue with the flashlights and stuff, right? So I'm like, is this like a powered down wing of Star Labs? And he was in like the freezer portion, but if there's no power,
rotting body.
Don't they just have a rotting body pile in a corner of Star Labs? Because like they're using flashlights. Things don't work for some reason.
You're totally right. And also, like, I think a lot of people have died at Star Labs if they're keeping bodies. Turtle died there because Harrison Wells killed him.
Yeah.
I think the electricity guy also died there.
If they were going to do a zombie this episode, why the hell was it Girder? Why was it not just a Swamp Thing-esque just pile of disgusting
all
that came
together?
All of them.
Oh, that would have been gross.
That would have been gross and messed up and maybe
some
dynamic for some reason.
For some reason, it still would have been in love with Iris. It's just...
Oh, God. Why is everyone in love with Iris for no motivation whatsoever? Why? Well, I don't understand why everyone loves Iris. The least dynamic, interesting character who has no personal interests or story whatsoever. Why do people love Iris and they can't get over it? Yeah, we're going to get into this again. We're going to get into this every week until they figure this out as a show. What is Iris doing?
I don't know.
Barry's dead. Henry Allen is there. He'd been away for a while. He is torn apart because he thinks he just lost his son. He's ready to punch Harrison Wells in the throat until he brings his son back.
Oh my God, I love that scene.
He is ready to straight up Liam Neeson taken Harrison Wells until he gets his child back because he has a very specific set of skills. And Iris
learned in prison.
Yeah, and Iris is like, no, I got this. I've been a journalist for a week, or whatever the hell her motivation is.
Especially because, like, the last conversation she had was, Barry, I think we might be destined to get married, and he didn't really show an interest in it.
He didn't even seem that into it, quite frankly.
He was like, I also love you, and I will come with you forever. It'll be great. It was just like, yeah, I'll definitely jump into the Speed Force with you. And where did Cisco go in the Speed Force?
I don't know. Yeah,
that was hilarious when they were just reaching for each other.
He awkwardly left, which I love.
He was just like, I'm just gonna
which
be.
I love. Yeah. That is just a like. He's like, let's go. I'm gonna take you into the Speed Force. Into the Speed Force. Oh, you two are having a little. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, get up. We're just gonna have a cheesy arm reach.
Yeah. And the fact that she said, "Come home to me," what does?
I know.
Who are you?
I mean, like,
you creepy stalker, horrible.
They were raised in the same home.
I think they still live in the same home.
No, she has her own place.
Oh, she has her own place.
She has her own place. But like, if a dad says that, it's like, because we're a family.
It is so creepy.
It's weird.
For your sister love interest, who hasn't really hung out with you since her fiance died, to just go, come home to me. Be like, restraining order. You're weird. I wanted that scene to end with Barry just be like, I'm good here. I'm good.
It's like when Linda said you should yearn for me. Is that what ache for me?
Ache for me and be like, too much. Too
soon. We're not even dating currently.
You're coming in hot. Scale it back a little. But yeah, like that whole thing, the Iris thing was ridiculous, and Girder did not work as a villain of the week.
He did not work as a villain, and also even just like the way they killed him. What happened? He just passed out?
He's
dead.
So they had to charge up the magnets, and then the magnets made him crazy sleepy. That's what I love. Just mad sleepy.
They just put him back in the morgue hoping he was dead sleepy?
Yeah, they threw him back in the rotting pile. And I'm assuming that's going to be the last we ever hear. It's such nonsense.
His poor family. I just can't stop thinking about it. I can't believe they kept someone's body.
And he didn't even care about his family. He was just like, I'm a zombie who still loves very like Day of the Dead Bub type stuff going on. Ooh. Hello, Aunt Elisa type stuff. Thank you if you get that reference. If you don't, I'm sorry. But it's just like he's a zombie who still remembers love, which I'm like, that should be its own story. That's a movie. Why are we not exploiting zombie?
They should feel real bad about killing that guy again. They had no moral qualms with killing him. They're like, we gotta kill him again. Yeah, even though he's clearly got like emotions still.
Zombie who knows how to love? Like, before I kill you, can I get your life rights? Because this is a hell of a tale.
There's some real moral grays in this that are not touched upon.
Not touched upon enough.
All right.
That's
probably enough.
That's enough for the CODs. It's Iris and Girder. Let's get into Easter eggs. All right, so Easter eggs for tonight's episode. What did you find?
Most of the stuff was stuff we'd seen: Jesse Quick, Speed Force, Jay, and stuff. The only stuff I really noticed was at the very end we have all those villains. And I was trying to spot like people we know. I feel like these were just extras who were given like wear anything loopy and crazy.
Okay.
Some people I did spot though. There was very clearly like an Earth 2 Captain Cold who actually had metahuman powers.
All right.
He was blonde, but he was wearing a parka and he looked like he was making cold. In the New 52, for a little while, Captain Cold was a metahuman. Okay. And then they quickly decided they didn't like it and gave him his cold gun back and took away his powers.
Okay.
But, so I think
is the current sleeveless Captain Cold? That's Gun. That's back to Gun.
But yeah, when the New 52 first started, Captain Cold was a metahuman and had powers. So I think
a little bit
Earth
closer
2,
to Killer Frost kind of thing.
So I think on Earth 2, because we know Leonard Snart is the mayor, Captain Cold is some other guy.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense.
It's not Snart.
It's
he's
Mayor
the mayor
Snart.
On Earth 2. So there's another Captain Cold, though.
That makes a bunch of sense.
Mm-hmm. And then I did spot someone. It was a guy who was green and, like, fiery floating.
Yeah.
In regular Justice League, there's a woman named Fire who's green and on fire and floats. So I guess the Earth 2 version might be a dude. I think this was supposed to be Fire from the Justice League.
Okay.
And everyone else was kind of just zany looking.
It's real hard to tell because it was such like a hectic. It was such a hectic mosaic of powers that like even talking about like Fire from the Justice League that like there was that green fire kind of emanating, but in a crowd that visual effects of green fire, I'm like it seems to be coming from everyone and no one at the same time because even at one point in the show we had the metahuman who could turn into like gas, and it was
mist.
mostly like a green mist.
Yeah, it could have just.
So
been
it could have
mist.
just been a green mist hanging around other characters that
Making
it
them look like
appeared
fire.
it was
Yeah.
like green fire.
With that many people so quick, it's hard to tell who anyone was.
Real sardine can on top of one another, and real hard to pinpoint who was who and what, especially in those couple of seconds. I mean, I know you freeze framed it to be like, what is about to happen, but it's tough to analyze in those few seconds.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, those are the only two I was like pretty sure about to talk about. So those are my
But
Easter eggs.
now I'm wondering what is going to happen with that many villains.
It's a lot.
It seems like a weird teaser to have because there's no way they just really scaled things up. They upped the stakes hard at the end of this episode. I don't know how they can possibly follow through on that.
I have no
There's no
idea.
way next week's episode is like, yeah, it's Barry versus 40 metahumans we can't afford
Like,
to CGI.
Are the
There's
Legends
no
of Tomorrow
way.
going to show
There's
and be like, we got this? Like, I have no idea.
Slightly out of focus in the background, they take down 49 out of 50 of the metahumans, and then the Legends of Tomorrow leave.
Leave in the background.
And it's just Zoom. And they're like, let's do it, I
Thank
guess.
goodness for time travel.
Yeah.
What happened at your show? We don't know. But I have no idea. Unless we're just going to open up one of those, like, portals like we did with Grodd and just shove everyone through real quick.
Right.
Get them in a bunch, shove them through, they land in Gorilla City,
Get
and
them in
Grodd takes
a
care of
bushel.
it.
A bushel,
Grodd
if you will.
will handle this.
Okay.
But, yeah, so those are Easter eggs. Those are what's going on.
Okay.
And do we have any...
We have a comment/observation for the Easter eggs on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
Sure.
The dinosaur book was by Ethan Reese something.
Reese, Helbing, I think it said. I looked it up. I didn't find anything for that.
Somebody said they thought it was a reference to DC artist Ethan Van Sciver.
Oh, Ethan Van Sciver, yeah.
And Reese, what the hell was it? Cooper? Something like that?
Oh, I don't know Reese Cooper. I know Ethan Van Sciver. He does a lot of Flash stuff, so that's actually probably an Easter egg.
Oh.
He does Flash covers a lot and interior art. I don't know a Reese off the top of my head.
Okay.
But thank you, Facebook comment.
Question from Dave Folmsby on the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Dave wants to know, what was the gift that Barry rejected? Was it having the chance to save his mom?
Yeah, so we got... Yeah, good question from Dave. Yeah, I see that one there now. Was it... What was the gift?
I think that nails it. It was the chance to save his mom. That's a gift.
Yeah.
He didn't... She was killed. He had the chance to save her and didn't.
Okay.
Mostly because he trusted himself, though. Just because he was also there, and the
Right.
other version of him was like, no.
Right.
I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. He never rejected his powers. He saved everyone as often as possible.
Yeah, and it really could be anything. I don't know. It's hard to tell when you have... when the Force
only
is
thing he
like an
chose not to
omnipotent
do.
being. That,
The only thing he chose not to do was save his mom. So I feel like that's the
Right.
only thing I can think of that he did reject.
Right, but he even brought up the idea that he gave up his powers to save Wally. Would that be the rejection of his powers? That
Nah,
he
I don't
feels
feel like-
Wally is more valuable than what his powers are? Is that the
seems like a
rejection?
real jerk thing to say if you're the Speed Force.
I feel like if you're
Wally wasn't worth it, Barry.
I
That's
feel like
rude.
if you are the Speed Force, you're looking at some real big picture stuff, though.
I guess
feel like
they're
the
like,
Speed
"We
Force
need
is
you."
not like, yeah, I get it. You've been friends for a few weeks. You know, like, I feel like the Speed Force is like, what even am I, first of all? And second of all, I'm going to watch the universe end, apparently.
All right, I guess that's you're fair enough. That's pretty big picture. They're
That's
like,
pretty big
Wally,
picture stuff.
Wally's inconsequential.
Yeah.
We need you to
The
disappear in the
Speed
year
Force
2017.
starts out by saying, I've seen the beginning of the universe and end of the universe. Oh, no, your friend Wally, by all means.
I guess Barry should have been like, I'm important enough for this conversation. Okay, fair.
Right.
Fair enough, Dave.
Yeah,
Andrew and Dave?
Yeah, and Dave even saying that like he enjoyed this episode better than the last few, and I completely agree with that.
I totally
This
agree.
gets a little bit more of the rhythm up, or at least it gets. This is better than the last several episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my memories get a little hazy, but at least the last three, this is better than that.
The last three have been rough, but
Yeah.
up until like Christmas time, we had some really good ones and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is the strongest one in a bit. Probably since we went
Yeah.
to Earth 2.
Yeah, I would say so, and it's well, it's interesting because it's been the strongest in a bit, but for different reasons. Like it was a great acting, performance, and emotional episode, but it still didn't get any action right or villain of the week correct.
No, but it
still
did at least have some humor that worked.
It had something
More
that
humor than
worked,
worked than
but it
usual.
didn't give me the hope that they've managed to get back on track the formula of what this show is. Because nothing about what worked in this episode was something that I'm like, oh, well, that's going to carry over to next week's episode and continue to work on track. They still have the problem of not knowing how to play the Iris-Barry relationship. They still have the problem of Zoom's plot being a little bit overpowered, of Caitlin kind of sitting on the sideline. They still have it was a good episode, but it didn't course correct anything that's happened so far.
No,
It didn't
totally
fix
agree.
anything. Yeah.
Totally agree. We
Yeah.
still don't know who's in that mask.
Yeah, we still don't know what was in that mask. And we have Kyle on the thread as well, wondering what we thought of all the Speed Force consciousness weird stuff, which I kind of liked. I kind of liked how weird the Speed Force
I
was.
kind of liked it too. It reminded me a lot of the Prophets from Deep Space Nine. I don't know if you watched Deep Space Nine.
I did not watch Deep Space
Okay, yeah.
Nine.
Cisco used to go and talk to.
Should
Prophets.
I have watched
I
Deep
loved
Space?
Deep Space
Okay,
Nine.
all right.
It was a great show. Our producer is nodding as well, if you're curious. You would go and talk to the Prophets, who were like psychic aliens, and they would look like your friends, and they would talk in monotone and not give you enough answers, but you'd figure some stuff out.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very prophet-y from Deep Space Nine. I liked it. I liked it for one episode. I wouldn't
Right.
like it all the time, but I'm
Right.
like, I can handle this for an episode. I'm enjoying it.
All right.
So analyze Barry's character.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
And so I think that's it.
I think, and the only other Easter egg maybe worth mentioning, even though I'm sure a lot of people are aware, but some may not be, is that tonight's episode was directed by Kevin Smith.
Yes.
And a little bit of cameo from Jason Mewes in the episode, who of course he's going to show up in a Kevin Smith project, Jay and Silent Bob, if you're not aware, or if you didn't notice that. Yeah.
Oh, and another little Easter egg that I learned from Kevin Smith's podcast, Jason Mewes is one of those villains in the end scene.
Oh, really? He doubles down.
Yeah, they gave him a mask, and he was like, I want to be a villain, too. I'm here.
Okay, all right. So Jason Mewes gets 2 cameos in the Kevin Smith episode. There we go.
All right. So, this has been Fan vs. Fan for The Flash. I'm Diana McCullen.
I'm Andrew Rodney.
You can catch us on From Superheroes. You can follow Dorkshelf on Twitter at Dorkshelf, and you should subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, and also next week's episode, tweet along with us using the hashtag FanVFan, and we'll talk